Hello everyone, I welcome you again in my YouTube channel Metamorphosis, and today we are going to deliver Chaucer's Age Part 3, which is the final part, and it will be just addressing the most important work of Chaucer, the Canterbury Tales, from where lot many questions are being asked in all sorts of competitions. And I would suggest all the students, particularly who are preparing for NET, that you have to go through the stories told by the characters in Canterbury Tales, because lot many questions are being asked as traditional questions are not being asked now. They are going deep into the story. So somewhere you need to explore those stories in a good way, and if you want to go through the stories in detail, you can go through all the stories in very brief in the Oxford Companion to English Literature. You can buy or you can go through all the stories are given there. So let me start without wasting time. So before we go to the Canterbury Tales, some of the most important questions which are very important is, Chaucer is known by these names. Number one is father of English poetry. You know that he refined actually the poetry and he refined the vernacular also, and therefore here we can say that that's why he is called father of English poetry. Grandfather of English novel, because as you know in last chapter or in last lecture I told you that in Troilus and Cressida it is also supposed to be the first novel in verse. So it is the reason why he is called grandfather of English novel. He is called father of English language as he refined the language, and whatever modern English you are just going through nowadays, Chaucer actually took, or Chaucer actually established the base of it. Morning star of Renaissance, as you know that Renaissance was knocking at the gate of England at that time, and at last the earliest of the great moderns, because you can also suppose that he was the first modern writer who actually just revolutionized the English literature in all sorts of writings. Now next three sentences are or statements are there which are spoken for the Chaucer. They are very important. One is, Chaucer is the first great painter of characters. As you know that Canterbury actually is the portrait of the contemporary society of Chaucer, and it is a satire also in Chaucer. So it is for that work that it is said that he was a great painter of characters, and it was said by A.C. Ward. I suppose I just advise my student to go through some techniques of association for this. I am telling you, I am making you remember it forever. There was A.C. Ward in the hospital, and in that hospital Chaucer was given the task to paint the A.C. Ward. So you can connect this in very easy way, that whenever painter of character is there, you will feel that A.C. Ward is the person. He found English a dialect and left it a language. You know Chaucer refined the English. Lowes has said this. So you can also say that one technique here, that you gave me a dialect which was not refined. I am giving you, making this dialect, making it a very well dialect. So you can say that just by one word, low well. Low well means in Hindi, I have created your English in a very good way. So now I am giving you your English by doing it well. So take it low well in Hindi. So you can connect it. The well of English undefiled is Spencer. So here we can write that by the word we can remember it is Hindi ispe andar. It is a well where English lies undefiled. Please just peep inside ispe andar, jhaak ke dekho, and you will find that English is undefiled. So we can very well remember in this by this association technique. Now I am coming to Canterbury Tales. In Canterbury Tales, some of the questions I have written, these are frequently being asked, that total pilgrims, you know the setting of the Canterbury Tales is that some pilgrims are there in Southwark, in Tabard Inn, whose master is Harry Bailey, and he puts an offer before them that let us decide one thing this time, that all will be just telling 4 tales, 2 tales while going to the Canterbury where Thomas Becket's shrine is there, and 2 while returning, and whoever will be telling the best, he will be awarded a free supper from my side. This was the offer. and 29 pilgrims including Chaucer were there, and they were going to St. Thomas Becket's shrine, one question. Then each character has been assigned a task of telling 4 stories as per offer. Total stories they complete 24 only 24 stories could be completed. Among them 20 stories were completed and 4 were partially complete. So we can say that full stories are only 20. So there is no big task. We can go through some of the important stories, not all the 20s. And one frequently asked question is, who tells the first story? The first story is told by the knight. It is called Knight's Tale. Its name is A Story of Parliament or Tale of Parliament and Arcite, where 2 Parliament and Arcite, they fought for one girl, and at last one wins in that. And though that person who wins dies, and that person who is defeated, that marries that girl. This is the story. You can go through the story. One very important story from where the question is asked, none of Prioress Tales. The story of murder of a child. It was asked that in which story of the Canterbury Tales a child is murdered. So this is the story where a child is murdered by a Jews. And then wife of Bath is of course a very important question, where you know that some of the peculiarities of wife of Bath are there, like her name was Alison. She used to love chatting with the people. She was fond of marrying, so she had 5 husbands total. And this Bath is one question which was asked many times. Bath is actually the name of city in Germany, and Alison's profession is she was a cloth maker, and some peculiarity is that she had gaped teeth. There was a gap in between the teeth when she used to smile. So this is one of the most important question. Then a frequently asked question is, who tells the story in prose? In prose, there are 2 persons who tells the stories. Otherwise, the whole Canterbury Tale is written in heroic couplet. This is very important, that whole Canterbury Tale is written in heroic couplet, and you know that heroic couplet is actually a couplet where 2 lines are there, the end of which rhymes with each other, and we use iambic pentameter in the lines. Then Chaucer tells one prose story and one is told by Parson. Parson tells P for Parson, P for prose, we can remember that. Parson tells a story about the 7 deadly sins of the Christianity, and Chaucer tells the prose story, which is Chaucer tells 2 stories, where Tale of Meliboeus is a prose story and Tale of Thopas is not a prose story. So many times we are asked that how many stories are told by Chaucer. So both names are written here, Tale of Thopas and Tale of Meliboeus. Then at last one more question I am just remembering, which was asked in NET also. Which tale was there where a father murders her daughter? So this was the physician's tale, and you know that this physician was also a very interesting character in Canterbury Tales, as physician always used to treat people, all the patients, by just going through the astrology. So he used to treat patients by the help of astrology, which was quite a mocking, a kind of satire by Chaucer. So these are some of the important questions. Apart from this, there are many questions which are asked from the tale. So for NET aspirants, they need to go through the tales one by one, especially some of the tales, Knight's Tale, None of Priest's Tales, and then Chaucer's Tale of Meliboeus, Parson's Tale, Friar's Tale, and Physician's Tale. Some are the most important tales. And rest of the thing is that you can also go through that how many army figures are there, how many figures from the church are there, and how many women figure are there. These are some other important question. So students, this is all about Canterbury Tales and some of the important topics and statement or names for the Chaucer. I hope that this series of Chaucers, which ends here, part 1, part 2 and part 3, you liked it, and I will keep making such kind of videos where I will narrate long things in various parts or long topics. Till then, have a nice day, and I hope that you will keep subscribing and liking. Thank you. Have a nice day.